Hello, tile friends. Welcome back to another recording of the Tile Money Podcast. Thank you for joining us live inside Facebook, where we are now recording all of the Tile Money podcasts. And before we bring on the guest, I wanted to thank my sponsors. I want to thank the NTCA, National Tile Contractors Association, for being a supporter of this podcast, as well as Laticrete International for sponsoring this podcast and helping tile contractors everywhere via this format. So today we were actually talking to Steve Rampino. Steve works for Laticrete, and Steve is actually has been working on this project. And I want to share my screen. If you're listening to this in the future, you can go to YouTube and check this out, or you can just go to laticrete.com or laticrete.com, and on the front page there it says online education. Hit that. And today we're going to be talking about the subject of the online university, and this is what a page of the university looks like. They have all these tutorials, all these classes, these courses, if you will. Some of them are like 5 minutes or less, up to like, a half hour I'm seeing. And I started looking into this, and it was such a powerful platform that I thought, you know what, this would make a great podcast episode. I want to, bring this to my audience and let them know. Hi, Larry. Thanks for calling in from Canada. Good to see you. Thanks for watching. And I wanted to let you guys know that this exists, and that this is, let's see, Larry even put the Canadian flag there. I love it. So this is actually something that's really beneficial. So I just wanted to go over a couple. I put these in my favorites, how to build your social media presence. They've got a couple of these actually, the Super Cap. They've got a couple of these. This would be a great one to watch if you're interested in Super Cap. That can be a business in itself. Deflection, understanding deflection, understanding, they got the whole 101 series for like your apprentices, understanding tile adhesives, understanding materials basics, understanding grout basics, and then again, understanding tile deflection for tile and stone. So this is a 3 minute and 30 second video. This was one that I was really interested in. I watched it, and really, really great job explaining deflection. I mean, for somebody like me, this is something it's good to know, because when it comes up, when you need to know it, you can't remember, for at least, with my brain. So it's good to just go over there, a 3 minute refresher, and then you can actually approach the job with some knowledge and look super smart, right? And then they go into Spartacoat, a lot of different Spartacoat stuff. Regrouting of commercial kitchens down here on the lower right. I thought this was a great one. I mean, this could be a business in itself, along with like the urethane cement coatings and stuff like that. So I just think they've done an excellent job. And again, those are just a handful of my favorites. But there's a ton of different lessons, and they're always adding to it. So let's bring on kind of the man behind this machine. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Luke. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just for everybody's, knowledge, and let's get to know you a little bit. Where did you come from? Give us your history in the trade, stuff like that.
Sure. I'm Connecticut based. I work here in Bethany at Laticrete. I've been in the tile industry since high school. That was graduated 84 actually. And I started like most people do as a helper, carrying the materials in the building and grouting tile. And I was an installer for over 20 years before I came to Laticrete. Worked out of the union mostly, a lot of commercial work. So I'm a journeyman tile setter, stone fabricator, terrazzo, hung some cut to size stone on the outside of the building. Not my favorite thing to be up on a scaffolding 10 stories tall, something I wanted to get away from. And now I've been at Laticrete now for just over 16 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of that time I've been doing our live training events all around the country, and sometimes outside of the country as well. And we started Laticrete University back in 2014, and now I solely work on that and other smaller projects inside the company.
Okay. So for 16 years, congratulations. Great. It's always nice to see people, from a rich history in the industry. You obviously know the industry, the ins and outs of it. What tell me a little bit. I'm curious. You said when you first got started, you were kind of on the road doing some education, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when I started with Laticrete, I started in the tech services department, and you man the phones when you first come into technical services at Laticrete, and you talk to architects, end users, contractors, homeowners, and you spec jobs and make recommendations and things of that nature. And I did that for a little bit over 2 years, and then I was made the training manager.
Mm-hmm.
And Laticrete started training programs, over 40 years ago, live training events.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you might hear through the industry is our PTK program.
Mm-hmm.
And that stands for Profit Through Knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for up to 2 years ago. So about 12 years I did that. And we did 2-day seminars, mostly at our plants, but also, we take the show on the road at convention halls and hotels and things of that nature. And it's a 2-day extensive class on industry standards and Laticrete product knowledge. So, how the industry standards, plus also how Laticrete's products mesh with that. Mm-hmm. And it's a series of segments that take you through, for our tile and stone systems, it takes you through a tile assembly over a 2-day period, starting with prepping the substrate, patching and self-leveling, mortars and waterproofing membranes, right up to your finished tile and grout at the end of the 2 days. And the guest by that point would have assembled a full tile assembly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of information, and it's a great venue for our customers and friends. You get to meet a lot of people, and you get to have detailed, intimate conversations with people about things that are specifically important to them.
Yeah.
So it's not just a series of lectures. It's an interactive training that focuses on what those students want to learn from Laticrete. We can stand there all day and talk at you.
Right.
And spend 2 days having detailed conversations on the projects you're on.
Yeah.
So each class is unique, and like I said, they're a lot of fun to do, and there's some great information shared.
Yeah. And, it's kind of funny now when we're recording this in the middle of July, actually towards the end of July 2020, it's like, we're not really doing those at this time, and who knows how much longer. And so here you have this beautiful solution, but obviously you didn't throw this together in the last 3 months. You've been doing this for a dozen years?
Yeah, so we launched this in 2014 is when we launched it.
Okay, 6 years, that's right.
Yeah, but the concept is over 12 years old. So Laticrete University was invented probably somewhere around 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And, the first couple of years, it was just a theory that we kept studying and trying to figure out a way to affordably build.
Mm-hmm.
Because up until that point, no construction materials company in our industry had an e-learning course. And it costs money to launch these things. And you don't know if you're going to have an audience.
Right.
So we shopped it out and we learned what we could about it over the years, and then made our commitment financially to do this in 2013. Mm-hmm. And we developed some courses and launched them in 2014. Now, what drove us back then was the 2008 recession. A lot of people got laid off, didn't have work, and people who are unemployed are not going to go to live training events. And of course, it's expensive for a company to host live training events. Mm-hmm. So we thought, this is where an e-learning course could really be valuable for us as a product manufacturer, but also as our customer needs his or her training and knowledge, and they could do it from the comfort of their own home. So we thought the original concept was preparing for a future recession. Mm-hmm. And it just turns out that because of our back end work, we were in the right place at the right time when a lot of people have the time to take extra training.
Yeah.
And it's been utilized incredibly since this whole COVID thing has started.
Yeah. I believe it. I just saw in the NTCA newsletter, I didn't open it up. I was too busy, but it looks like, from the headline, some sort of government, agency is really pushing now some advertising, even on, like a nationwide level or whatever, to like look to the trades for a career, because guess what, we're the ones that are essential and the ones that are still working throughout this whole thing. So I think a lot of people are sitting at home wondering, what can I do, where can I get money? I'm having conversations in my other groups, not tile related. People are kind of looking for work, basically. So great idea, so it was designed really for educating new tradespeople. Is that right? Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yes, that's true. In regardless of what job you may take, we design our tutorials to be informative, from the basic new employee who just started last week to the installer who's been in the industry for 10 or 20 years. And he might be looking at more specific details of a product, or cure times, or mixing ratios. And in the same token, we know we have new people in the industry that may be working at a tile store, and their first focus is to learn about the tile itself. They have to sell that tile to the homeowner, not the adhesive. So, this gives them an easy avenue to get that training and education. And that's one thing that we've always done, is know how to speak to that newcomer to the industry, because it doesn't have to be complicated. And if you give them a good understanding of what they're talking about with their customers, it's better for the whole industry. They'll recommend the right products. The customer end user will walk away happy with their project, and so on.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. In fact, we talk about in a lot of the groups, a lot of the discussions online are about apprenticeship, about like in the olden days, or in, even unions today. I'm not too familiar with unions, but they definitely, one thing they have is a systematic apprenticeship program. And things have changed so much that, a lot of that stuff is out the window for smaller companies and not really an option. Well, guess what? When I had an apprentice, I told them, look, there's going to be a lot of downtime. That's just a fact of tile, right? There's always downtime. And I actually told them, I said, watch Sal Tbilisi videos on your phone.
Yeah.
YouTube. And so I would show up at the job site, and my installer would be installing tile, and I would actually catch my helper watching, or my apprentice watching Sal Tbilisi on YouTube, and it worked great. And he actually started to get excited about the trade. Now, this was before I really even knew about stuff like this, but this is one of the reasons I want to bring this out. I mean, I know NTCA has a program, and now you guys have this program, and it's really amazing, and a great resource, like Sharon brings out. Adam says, great hat. Thank you, Adam. This is Adam's old company out of Northern California.
Guys like Sal, they do such a great job at explaining. When I listen to Sal, he looks and acts like the guys I started to work with way back when you learned everything on the job.
Yeah.
Back then, if they didn't work on it, you didn't learn about it.
Right.
Now apprentices have the opportunity to get that kind of introduction to a marble installation or a shower floor through, Laticrete University and guys like Sal, without the company you're working for having to have that job available right there and then. So it's a great way to move the industry along, and the industry's growing. We need new people.
Yeah. And you know what? The inquiring minds want to know. So that's why when we see some courses like, the basics of grout, the basics of tile and stone, the basics of thin set adhesives, right? I mean, this is all stuff that 18, 19, 20-year-old wants to know and is actually curious about. And if you can get the answer, you can tell them. I mean, heck, some of these guys and their apprentices might watch this video and let their let their boss know about a thing or two, Yeah.
I love the one grout series. It starts off by saying grout fills the cracks in between the tile. I mean, there's no basic explanation. We can make it any more basic than that.
Yeah. Hi, Joey. Thanks for watching. Joey Hubble.
Hi, Joey.
All right. So how many courses do you have?
Well, we've got some hidden courses that you don't see because they're made for specific companies and things like that. So basically, there's about 130 courses in our library, with a little under 100 of them public facing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you worked for a bigger company like Dow Tile or EMSA or somebody like that, you might see a different folder with company specific instruction and training.
Yeah.
But we've got 100 public facing tutorials covering every category in the Laticrete catalog. So waterproofing membranes, tile systems, resinous flooring, tile and stone care and sealing with the stone check line, and super cap, underlayments, you name it. And it's growing every day. We launch commonly on a monthly basis.
Oh, monthly. Okay.
Yeah.
So roughly 12 a year.
Yeah, we lose a month every once in a while.
Sure. So do I.
Yeah.
Listen, what do you know off the top of your head what the most popular kind of subject is? Do you have a popular video or course?
Consistently, the 101 series has been very popular and is still in the top 10 since we launched it over a year ago.
Really?
So, yeah, so the 101 series is quite popular and has stayed at that level.
Good.
Now, what comes into the top 10 quite a bit is the shower systems, waterproofing membranes, grouts, and then our newer products. So for Select Bond, which is our adhesive that comes with a dissolvable pack to modify it, is currently the most popular tutorial being watched on there.
Yeah. The Select Bond. Yeah, that's a good one. It's like, how did they do that, right?
Yeah. Well, it grew from our Select Permacolor Select grout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just evolved, huh? Is it going to grow legs? No.
Yeah. We'll see what goes next. It's interesting what technology is bringing to our table.
No, big time, and how I mean, it's incredible, truly incredible.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some companies. Do you know of any like larger companies who are utilizing these videos for, I mean, obviously they are, if the 101 series is the most popular series.
Yeah, there's a few companies that mandate Laticrete University as a standard of training. And there's quite a few of them that do it. And we help them out by giving them performance reports. So, I pull performance reports off of the site, and if I have a company's name, we'll share that information with them so that they can track or confirm that employees are taking the courses. Now, a lot of companies have handled it in an interesting way. And what they do is, for example, a company like Century Tile out in Chicago has multiple branches. So the upper management designated that you have to go on Laticrete University and learn about HydroBand waterproofing membrane for all the managers first. Then the following month for all the employees below those managers. And that manager was tasked with, instructing and assisting that employee in understanding the product better. And by doing so, you're now getting a larger breadth of product sold to each project from a person who understands what they're selling and how it works. So that was a really great and interesting approach. And we're finding that a lot of companies are taking that approach. It's a way of getting everybody in the company trained on all the same subject. So in other words, managers, supervisors, and employees all taking the same training and gaining a larger understanding or a greater understanding of the same products together.
Great. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That makes sense, and it would be logical to do that, and beneficial for the company. Everybody's on the same page. You're using one system. The jobs are going to be smoother. They're going to be more profitable. The time, you're not questioning things out in the field. Oh, what thin set, what this, what that, you have a system.
Right. And if they're all on the same page, and immersion is the best way to learn anything. Just study and keep studying. So if I have 8 coworkers and we're all studying the same thing, we all in, casual discussion about it, we get a better education.
Yeah. Good deal. I noticed you have some PTK, Profit Through Knowledge webinars mixed in. What is the difference between those and the regular courses?
Okay, so that is in development. So we have webinars that are given by our staff around the country that were broadcast. And we thought, we have them on YouTube, and we gave them a dedicated channel inside of Laticrete University. Mm-hmm. And it was a trial thing to see if people would actually sit through them, because they're about an hour long, and people are watching them. So they're quite popular. People like the topic, and the Laticrete staff is just awesome at teaching. So they appeal to a broad audience, and it was worth our while. So we're going to continue to try and consolidate that library in Laticrete University as well as YouTube.
Yeah.
So that we can get that information out to more people. Yeah. Our technical services department is currently working on our 2-day program, our 2-day training, where we are going to digitize the whole thing, break it up in segments, and you'll see the PTK folder appear, and those courses appear within the next few months or so. Mm-hmm. So that's in development now. We don't have an end date on it because it involves building mock-ups, and doing each training segment that we would normally do live with an actual physical demo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and as well as more technical services, how-to guides, which we also have on YouTube and on our social media channels, will also be consolidated in Laticrete University. And it gives the user just a larger library to choose from.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds really awesome. Here's a question I just thought of. Are you turning any of these courses into blog posts? You know if there's any plans for that? Or
no, I don't have any plans to do that. I don't know if any of our people are using it. Of course, we share our data with our employees. So if somebody were to want that, we'd share it with them.
Yeah, yeah. What are I guess you already touched on the plans for the future. Anything else?
Yeah, that's really it. We want to expand our library. We are going to work on that. We've got some new products that we just launched this month, and we need to wrap up those tutorials. You'll see them in the next couple of weeks, and we'll continue to grow the library. We brainstormed together probably that list of titles that's about 200 plus titles.
Yeah.
So we have lots of work to do, and it takes time to develop them, but we will continue to grow the library. And as you know, we are wide open for suggestions. We love to hear from our friends. If you have an idea, if you think there's something you'd like to see, we want it on that list of things we need to do in the future. And also, if you catch a typo in there, there's a little reward for that as well. We don't get too many of them, but whenever somebody says, hey, you got a typo on slide 5, well, we'll give you a little present to thank you for pointing that out.
Cool.
So there's a challenge for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know Laticrete's always been generous with the swag, and you even have a program where you really you give like a certificate to for passing a course, right? And then you can kind of add those up.
Oh yeah, you get a certificate whenever you complete the course. It gets emailed to you as well. There's a pop-up that says print your certificate. And as an employee, I can tell you that I collect those things. I'm a person who loves learning new things, and I take training all year long. And when it comes down to me and my manager talking about my career, those certificates come to the table. Here's what I've been doing to better my skill set at work, And, so I like certificates, and you get those and utilize them for that. They are to help you advance your career with your boss.
Yeah.
And we run a lot of contests with the swag. One is just the top user. The top user of the month gets a nice package from me. Nice. And, of course, sharing through social media and our marketing department. They run contests. Our reps across the country run contests for, sometimes a specific company.
Yeah.
So they'll say everybody in the company take the HydroBand, the shower systems tutorials. And then once you're done, they may buy you lunch, or they may give you swag and things like that. So there's a lot of, you know, a lot of fun stuff to do to gain some knowledge, and you get something out of it. Our people are pretty generous about it.
Yeah, they sure are. And thank you, Roberta. Appreciate it. And Sharon says the link, in case you're listening to this in the future, the link is actually laticreteuniversity.com. So fairly straightforward and simple. I've got a couple more questions. And listen, if anybody watching this live has questions, feel free to put them up in the chat box and we can get to them before we let Steve on with his day. I just curious on one thing. I saw like your badge, or it's really a shield. Isn't that a shield? Your logo for the university, and it has this word I wasn't familiar with, so I looked it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is that word? Peritia, or
Latin.
Is Latin?
Yeah.
So it's PERITIA, and it essentially, means practical knowledge gained by experience, right?
Yes.
I'm just curious, do you know the origins of who came up with using that word on that?
Who came up with it? It wasn't me. I'm not that smart. It came out of our marketing department. I thought it was an amazing idea.
Yeah.
And I love it. And why I'm laughing here is because you're probably only the third person to ask me about that in all the years that has been out there.
Nice.
Now, you can imagine, Laticrete has hundreds of employees. Nobody has ever asked about that.
All right. I feel good. Sean says he wants to sit up front. All right. So the last question here I had is kind of a bonus question, off kind of a different type of question. Adam Wilson, he said that Steve Rampino has the best email response time in the world.
Yeah.
So the question to you is, honestly, it's something that I've kind of, heard over the years is like, I'm one of those guys who lets my emails stack up. I mean, my inbox is just so dirty. And, I was late kind of getting, responding to you this morning. Listen, why do you do it? How do you do it? How do you keep your inbox so clean?
Laticrete has a 24-hour rule. So we are technically supposed to respond to all responses within 24 hours. Now, I'm a lot faster than that, and I know I am. and I'm glad you asked me that question. And here's why. Because when I email you a question, that's what I'm looking for the answer at the time I send the email.
Right.
So is it worth it to me if it takes me 30 seconds to answer your question? Do I do it tomorrow when I have this other stuff done, or do I just do it right now? And then, Adam's not wondering what the answer to the question's going to be, what my answer will be. So yeah, that's true. I do that. And occasionally I miss an email. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, where the heck you been?
Something's wrong.
But yeah, it's become a contest for me.
Well, it's actually a real thing. And this is why I kind of wanted to emphasize it, and I'm not going to let it go yet, is the more stuff we have on our brain, in the back of our mind. I mean, even if we don't know, it's like subconscious. Like my wife the other day sat me down. She's like, Luke, we just need to put your stuff on paper. And she does this like every 3 or 4 months. She notices like I'm getting really like anxious, and she notices, and she's like, just put it on paper. We got to get your list. And just doing that, like 10 minutes later, I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. It's off my list. It's off my brain. It's off my brain, and it's on paper. So I don't have to hold it in my brain. It's not heavy on my shoulders. Have you noticed benefits of that, Steve?
Yeah. I'm an electronic guy nowadays. So I put everything into my Outlook and in my Teams tasks and that sort of thing. So, I've been making lists my whole life. That's how I did so well in construction. I wasn't the kind of guy who left the job with a bullnose missing behind at the lower end of the bathtub where, you always leave out till you put the base in. And, because the second I left that off, I wrote it on my list. And we can't leave the job until the list is scratched off. I did it in my career, and I do it around my house. And it's something that we were taught by our grandfather, and my brothers all do the same thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good deal. Well, Steve, I think we've covered everything. Did I miss anything?
Well, I don't think so. I think we got it all covered, but we're happy to answer any questions that come in afterwards. I really appreciate you having me on. Really appreciate what you do for the industry. This industry is growing rapidly, and knowledge is the key to money.
Yeah.
I got into this industry to earn a living, and then I grew to love the industry and the people in it. So, whatever grows our industry, makes us a better worker within it, is great for us in the long run. And thank you for all that you're doing with it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. I'm really enjoying helping people and learning as I go.
Yeah.
So, all right, Steve. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sure you got some more stuff to do in the office. And as always, tile friends, stay profitable out there.
All right. Thanks, Luke.
You're welcome.